Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Attack on Titan. Last time on Attack on Titan, we had Ruler of the Walls, where basically we fought the T-Rex, the Rod Rice Titan. And basically they had the plan that they needed to have Buffered chuck a bunch of gunpowder into his mouth, and then it will ignite, explode, then you go in and cut the nape. And that is exactly what happened. Eren also got over himself, which was good, and Historia cemented her place as a queen who leads from the front. And the people saw that, and they now recognize their true queen. And yeah, that was basically that. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So, let's go ahead and get into this episode of Attack on Titan. Here we go. Alright. Now let's be sure. Again, I don't remember if we did actually do one for Rod last episode. We might have, and I just forgot. But let's be sure we get one for Kenny Ackermann. I love when a show is so good that it can basically do an episode character study on a very minor character, and I'm just so enthralled, you know? Because, I mean, that's it for Kenny. And while we got some stuff out of that, can we all face the facts that Kenny is kind of a minor character, all things considered, and they just dedicated most of the episode to him, you know? Like, that's just crazy. And I love when a show can do that, you know? That they can just spend all this time on something that you wouldn't think would need to be an episode. Oh boy. So, man, and then just like sort of a 1-2 punch at the end there, between the Coronation and Beastie Boy. Jeez Louise. Okay. So, let's just go into the notes. Okay, so, oh my gosh, there's so much to actually, like, it's a little tricky to, like, go over all of this, but we got a lot of Kenny's origin, which was interesting, and how he became kind of the right hand to the Rice family. So, interestingly, again, it is sort of interesting that, you know, okay, so Rod's brother, what was it? Was it Uri? I don't fully remember. But he was the king, and so when he was eaten by Frida, that made Rod the king. He was next in line. It does make you question, why is it that Rod never took the power as the king, you know? Why did he never take that? Why did he pass it to Frida instead, you know? Like, why did he always... Why... He kind of feared it, you know? But he also said, like, you know, it's very important that I never get this power, that I never become a Titan, you know? So yeah. But it was basically King Uri's humility, almost, I guess, that swayed Kenny to change his mind about him, which was interesting. So I really like all of that. Very, very interesting stuff. We got Levi's origin, that presumably Levi's father was just a random person that slept with his mother. So, but then she became so sickly that she basically didn't get any work, and because of that, Levi ended up starving. And so that was interesting. So first off, so Levi never even knew his name. He never knew that he was an Ackerman. And that's how he never knew that that Kenny was an Ackerman because he never knew. He just thought, oh, well, this was just a friend of my mother. He didn't really know the full relationship until now. He knows Kenny was his uncle, and they both are Ackermans. So that's pretty interesting, which that also explains why when Mikasa joined the Cadet Corps and then eventually the Scouts, that didn't raise any red flags with Levi, because he didn't even know his own name was Ackerman. So that's why he wouldn't have recognized Mikasa as, when he saw Mikasa Ackerman, that didn't raise any red flags for him because he didn't know the name, So that's the thing. Now, we still don't know their relationship to Mikasa. Like, are they cousins, or is because it was her father was an Ackerman, so maybe he was their other brother, He was the brother to Kenny and Levi's mom. It's entirely possible, but we don't really know. It is interesting that, they go through this whole thing of like, okay, well, the Ackermans weren't really pursued anymore, but Kenny still, it was still risky for him going out, just in broad daylight, or whatever the equivalent is in that fucking underground city. Oh, excuse me. And it was still tough for him, and because of all the prejudice basically against the Ackermans, that's why Levi didn't get the name. It is interesting, though, that, Mikasa's father did flee because of the persecution and went to Shiganshina, but he kept using the name Ackerman. I thought that was really I think that's pretty interesting that, when you really stop and think about it, like, oh, he still uses the name Ackerman, So, yeah. Also, this whole underground city, like, okay, was that the actual place that we've been at? Is it this place? Like, was it abandoned? No, it couldn't be. Because they mentioned it before, didn't they? Was it... I'm pretty sure they mentioned it before. I think the underground city is somewhere else, but I don't remember where it is. So, presumably that city is still there, though. And this is just another underground... This was another underground place, basically. So... But yeah... But, I mean, that's pretty crazy in and of itself. That it's like, oh, well, here's just this underground city. All right. And so, King Uri, he had a prediction, basically, about the future. He said in the not-too-distant future, the world is basically going to collapse, or something to that effect. And he did say, like, he's working to build a paradise. So I'm curious, like, if he did actually have a plan, if maybe he was going against, the original Rice King, or was this part of the Rice King's plan? We still don't know. We still don't know. Plus the fact that now that Rod is dead, we can't get any information out of him. The only way we're going to be able to get information is if Eren can access, the memories of the previous founding Titans, But that will be very difficult if he can do that. It makes me curious, like, because I would imagine that's where we're going next, that he is going to be, trying to learn how to gain the memories and everything that come with his powers. But it makes you wonder if then he might struggle with the First King's will. What if the First King's will starts to take him over, That could be difficult, That could be very, very difficult. So we'll have to see about all that. But it was interesting to see, the whole thing of, like, passing on, and, Uri had all these, he had these sermons and stuff, and then it's interesting how it's like, yeah, he's technically not dead because he lived on through Frida, and Kenny immediately recognized it, like, he's in there. He's exactly in there, So that was interesting. And I like how again, I do kind of like Kenny's motivation, because we had a little bit of it earlier where he was saying, oh, so even if I become a Titan and eat Eren, I'm not going to be able to get this power. But the reason he's wanted this power, well, first off, the temptation of the power has been there for him. But also, he was honestly curious, if he got the power, would he become a more caring, compassionate person like Uri and like Frida, you know? So that was interesting, that he was curious about this power, not even for the actual aspect of having power, but just like what he was curious what it would do to him, you know? Very, very fascinating, you know, just a good insight on, you know, Kenny's mind and everything. And I like how he says, you know, everyone is drunk on something, you know? And, you know, like for me, it was power. For some, it's like women or religion or literal drinking, you know? Like, or service to the king, stuff like that. Like everyone, I like how he says everyone is a slave to something, you know? Which is true, you know? It kind of is this strange reality of everyone has something that they bend to, basically. And he's right about that. You know, everyone has their thing, basically. But I like how, you know, while yes, he was sort of drunk on power, he wanted power. He was a slave to this idea of power. I like where that led him, you know, where he wanted the power of the Founding Titan to see just what would it do to him, you know, would it change him? So all of that really, really, really great stuff. It honestly does. I do want to talk about it more, but I mean, we've kind of covered all the highlights, I feel like, you know, just such an interesting thing. Again, if anything, it was a character study, and it's one of those things, like, if you told me, like, 2 episodes ago, it's like, hey, we're going to get a character study on Kenny Ackerman, I would probably say, like, well, okay, then I guess he must be a very major character, right? Nope, dead, gone. That's it. Even in the plot that he was involved with, he wasn't too terribly involved. You know, for a guy who, like, if you wrote this down on paper, like, which I always love saying too, like, if you write this down on paper, you almost would look at it and be like, what the hell is this? You know, like, if you write this down on, and I know scripts, manga, all that is on paper, but you know what I mean. But if you write this down on paper, like, okay, we're going to have an episode about Kenny Ackerman, and it's going to be basically a character study on him. And it's like, you mean that guy who's basically just like a guard, basically? Like, he's just there to guard Rod Rice during that whole thing? Like, we're getting a character study on him? And you kind of look at it and it's like, okay, I guess I can see where you're going, but what does this matter if he ends up dying, you know? If he ends up dying in that episode, what does it matter? And then you commit it to animation like this, and suddenly it's like, oh, I get this. This is important. We needed to watch this, you know? Like, this is important for everything, and it's a very good character study. And I love when shows do that. Again, like, you know, it's like when, you know, you get a show like Breaking Bad, and it's like, you know, you're basically handed a paper like, in this episode, Walt and Jesse are going to try to kill a fly in the lab. And you look at it and it's like, what the fuck kind of story is that? What? Get out of here. What kind of... No, that's not a good story on paper. But then you commit that to film, or in this case, commit it to animation, and suddenly it's amazing. And that's what this was. You know, an episode that's a character study about Kenny Ackerman. I wouldn't have thought that would be... For a character who's, you know, barely lasted 10 episodes, you know? And even then, he hasn't been a very major, like, he hasn't been a very major character to the plot and everything. So still, love it all. We also got the injection. It's interesting how he says that, so I would have thought that the Titan injection basically becomes a lottery, where, like, it's a lottery, basically, of what kind of Titan you get. And Rod basically got an interesting lottery of, well, he's the biggest Titan on record, but he's also very clumsy. He can barely stand up on his own 2 feet. You know, he's dragging himself around, and he is, you know, very easily defeated. It's not like when, you know, when Eren becomes buffered and then, Reina becomes little boy and it's like, okay, this is going to be a fucking fight, Or when Bertolt becomes Fat Man, it's like, all of those, like, oh, those are really, like, important. This guy, it's like, well, yeah, this is going to take a little bit of work to beat this guy, but it wasn't that great. So I thought it was just a lottery of what kind of Titan you get, But basically, because he wasn't even injected. He just got a little bit on his tongue, and that transformed him. And because of that, it basically transformed him incorrectly, and that's how he became the Titan that he did. That's how the T-Rex came to be, was that he got the dose wrong, basically. So, that was interesting. That whole thing. And then, we got the coronation of Queen Historia Rice, which was pretty cool. I do kind of... Man, when it cuts to the crown, and it's like, oh shit, here we go. And then it pans up, and it's Premier Zachary putting the crown on her head, and it's like, don't you fucking touch that crown, you fucking weirdo. Like, goddamn, like, of course, it makes sense that it's, the premier of the military doing this. That honestly does make sense. But it's like, I fucking Could it be Pixis? Could it be someone else? Why did it have to be this guy, Like, I've lost all, like, respect and admiration, like, any sort of credibility or anything that Zachary had as a character is just out the window now. So I really do wish it was someone else, but obviously it would be the top head of the military crowning the queen. But I did like that, and I like how they say, she needed to be the one to deliver the killing blow to Rod Rice, because that will be a story for the people. That this man was a tyrant who led from the shadows, and he was about to destroy Orvud district, and the new queen ended him. It wasn't just the scouts; she was the one that ended his tyranny, and that is a story for the people. So I like that. And then I like how she actually did want to hit Levi, and I love to, because I was thinking, like, okay, is she actually gonna punch him, or is she just gonna slap him or something? And I just love, in the cutest, most Historia way possible, she just goes over and basically just gives him a little tap, but she's so excited about it. It's like, oh, did that hurt? Well, too bad, I'm the queen, And I love that. And I love to, because Mikasa, because it was Mikasa who brought this up, but I love that, she does what is quite possibly the weakest hit in all of reality. Like, the weakest hit in history, and Mikasa is still over there smiling like, yeah, we fucking got him, But then I also like Levi being like, thanks. I needed that, actually. So, we're all friends. I like that this episode is called Friends. We're all friends, Everyone's got their friends. No one told us life would be this way. ... Anyway. Last thing I wrote down is Reina versus the Beastie Boy. Little Boy versus the Beastie Boy. It was the battle of the boys in whatever the fuck abandoned town that was. Clearly that must be somewhere along Walmaria where there is no one there. But yeah, apparently Reina, who has, armor and is buff as fuck, lost to gangly arm Beastie Boy somehow. I don't know how. We also didn't see Ymir in that. We just saw Reina and Bertolt. So yeah, Reina somehow lost. Now that I'm thinking about it, Reina might not be the greatest fighter. He may not be the imposing threat that I originally thought the Armored Titan was. Because he's now basically gotten his ass kicked twice. One by the Beastie Boy, who, okay, we can sort of give credit, like, okay, well, maybe the Beastie Boy is way more experienced, or he's smarter or something. That's how he won. He also was about to lose to Eren, who just then thought to use Annie's tactics, which if he can basically untrained use some of Annie's tactics but he still basically wins, that means Annie can also kick the shit out of him expertly, which means Rhina's not exactly the greatest fighter in the world. Like, I wouldn't have expected this from the Armored Titan, but let's face it, that's 3 people he would lose to. Presumably, he might also lose to Bertold because he's because he's such a big guy, you know? So, yeah, Rhina's not the best fighter in the world, which is an interesting twist, but yeah. But, they're going to, I think they said they're going to wait just a little bit, and then they're going to go save Annie, which is crazy. So, hey, we're going to get Annie back. Oh, I'm so happy for that. I do kind of miss Annie after all this. So, I'd be glad for that. We have no idea where Ymir is, but yeah, shit's going to go down. And obviously, yes, that I've been going back and forth on is Dr. Jaeger the Beast Titan, which after they said, like, well, he was devoured, that's when I was kind of like, okay, I guess he can't be the Beast Titan. Even though his Titan form looked a hell of a lot like the Beast Titan. He looked so much like the Beast Titan. Maybe they're related? Oh, God, fuck. It's like Aaron's uncle or shit. I don't know. Fuck, everyone's getting uncles today, apparently. I don't know. But clearly, that guy is not Dr. Jaeger. Which I've always kind of been like, is he? I don't know. He's blonde, and Dr. Jaeger wasn't blonde, so he's clearly not. So we'll put that to rest, that it's not Dr. Jaeger. Maybe it is a Jaeger, though. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. But yeah. Sounds like shit's gonna go down soon. Honestly, I guess we're kind of done with our whole sort of internal struggles now. So maybe we'll actually get back to Titans, which I know, last episode we had a Titan fight, but we've been kind of away from the front lines for quite a while, so. But I guess with Aaron being able to use the skin hardening, I guess next should be Shiganshina. We should be heading back to Shiganshina now to get to that damn cellar. I guess so. I guess that's what's next. So, crazy shit that happened. When I did this and I said crazy shit, I think that just blew out my ear. Jesus Christ, that was way too loud. It is a problem that I sort of project my voice, despite the fact that the microphone is right here. I mean, that's like, what, a foot away from me, and yet I project to it like I'm speaking in front of an audience, And with all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Attack on Titan videos, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure to hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.